Now we swing over to the pros, baby, the NFL. And I'm going to take you guys to the game of the week because that's what we do here. Sunday Night Football, the Bills versus the Ravens. Baltimore laying 2.5 at home. And this is a great matchup between two of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Basically, after Mahomes, this is number 2 and number 3. And here's how I'm looking at this game. Because remember, it's all about handicapping styles, right? Because some people are going to look at this and say, you give me a player as good as Josh Allen with the way they're playing as an underdog, I'm taking it. I'm just taking it, right? And that's like my approach with Mahomes. Mahomes has gotten to the point in my power ratings, handicapping, however you quantify players, however you assign value to players or teams, he's gotten to the point where if you give him to me anything under -3, I'm taking him, like automatic. That was my reasoning last Sunday night against the Falcons. Last year in the Super Bowl, that was my reasoning. They were +1 or +2. I said, you give me anything with Mahomes -3 or less, I'm just taking him. That's it. So there are some people that look at this and say, Josh Allen, he does have a good record as an underdog. But I like the Ravens in the spot, and I'll explain a little bit why. I think in my power ratings, I have them 4th. So they're that's a little bit unique 3 weeks into the season. They are a 1-2 football team that I think is a very misleading 1-2. And I actually think they're a lot better than we've seen on the field. This is going to be the first big road test for the Bills. Perfect so far, 3-0 coming into this game. The blowout, by the way, on a Monday Night Football, totally ugly game, horrific. They didn't have to do much in that game. And they've been really rush heavy, which I like for them in the long run. I like that as a game plan going forward. They need to continue to be rush heavy, continue to utilize James Cook the way they've been doing. But I think that Baltimore here has a sneaky edge where, number one, they haven't been great against the pass, but they've been good against the run. So I think they could actually have some success here slowing down that aspect of Buffalo's game plan. And I think that the product we've seen on the field for them is not as good as they actually are. It takes time sometimes to adjust to a new defensive coordinator. Remember, McDonald is now the head coach in Seattle. So they have Zachary Orr now in Baltimore, and it just takes time sometimes to kind of adjust a little bit here. So I think they can maybe stifle the run a little bit better than you would expect. And they also play a lot more zone this year. So Josh Allen, after the Monday night game, all of the talk was, hey, so Jaguars getting absolutely obliterated in the secondary. Well, the Jaguars play a ton of man this season through the first 3 games. And Allen is just, that's it. Once you give him a few weapons and it's man coverage, he's going to kill you every time because of his ability to extend the play. So someone's going to get open at some point, and he's so good at that. And it really, really hurt Jacksonville. But Baltimore's going to be sitting back in a lot of zone in this game. And not to say that Josh Allen can't play against the zone, but he's certainly less effective in his career. If you look at his stats, certainly less effective against zone looks versus man coverage. So I think Baltimore could maybe have a little bit of a bounce back with their second. I mean, the secondary was good against Dallas last week until the 4th quarter, where they kind of let off the gas a little bit, which is inexplicable to me, but they seem to do that a lot over the last few years. But I think, like I said, I think there's some sneaky good matchups there for them. And then on the other side of the ball, it's all about Lamar, right? And Derrick Henry and how they utilize their weapons. But I think they can have success on the ground. Remember that Buffalo linebacking core without Matt Milano now and without Terrell Bernard and also Taron Johnson's going to be missing from this game. A little bit. This is the first matchup where I think that could be exploited because remember, week 1 was actually the closest matchup to what they're going to see this week, right? That was Arizona. Arizona put up a bunch of points on them and was in that game and led that game by 2 touchdowns at one point. And obviously their defense is horrific, so they couldn't keep the lead. But my point is Arizona had success. Then you go into week 2, they stifle the Dolphins, and then Tua gets hurt. And then last week, Jacksonville was just never in the game. And Lawrence just looks horrific. So this is going to be their biggest test because Lamar is playing really well. The Ravens have been good at home. You're getting him under a key number here of a favorite of less than the field goal, which, by the way, 23-7 against the spread in his career. That's 76%. Primetime Lamar, 14-7. That's 66% against the spread. It's a tough game to call for sure, but I lean Baltimore. I wouldn't be surprised. I can't tell you I'm going to be shocked if either team wins, but I kind of have this sneaky feeling that Buffalo comes back down to earth a little bit, and this maybe is maybe this is like a double-digit win. Maybe this is a 10-point win for the Ravens, a 13-point win for the Ravens. I like Baltimore in this spot. I'm going to lean them minus the 2.5.